Welcome to Experts Explain Trauma. Today, Tim Fletcher joins us to answer a common question that survivors ask themselves, as well as giving us tips to help us on our healing journey. Okay, Tim, here's our question. Why does the body stop sounding the alarm, and how can we rebuild trust with those systems again?
I think this is such an important part of understanding complex trauma for people is that you're shutting down perfectly healthy systems. Um, and the reason you're shutting down is because the child is trying to resolve the problem that the system's alerting them to, but they're not able to resolve it. Nobody's helping them resolve it. So it's eventually, if I let this system keep alerting me, it's just keeping me in pain. It's keeping me troubled. It's just adding difficulty to my life. So let's just shut it down. So if, let me just put it this way as an illustration. If you look at anorexia nervosa, you've got a perfect system of the body needs food, so it creates hunger. And the person shuts down not just hunger, but they shut down the alarm system. They don't just shut down the need for food, they shut down the hunger system until they don't even feel it anymore, and they're totally unaware that they're even hungry, that their body needs food, and then they can believe a bunch of lies about that whole thing that makes them convinced that food is bad for them, that they're fat or whatever. If you look at complex trauma, you shut down multiple systems. So it's not just that you shut down the food hunger system, you shut down your neuroception alarm system that alerts you to the vibes of others, whether they're safe or not. You shut down trust of people. You shut down hope that things will get better if you try this and that. You shut down your emotions. You shut down your conscience. You shut down empathy. Why should I care? Because the more I care, the more it hurts when something gets taken from me. And so you're shutting down system after system because you can't resolve them and they're too painful. And so you're becoming less and less human in order to try to survive and stay alive physically. And so the way we put it is to survive physically, you got to murder your soul. Um, and that's what begins to happen as you shut down all these systems. And so that happens on a broad spectrum. But I think if you look at a person with anorexia nervosa, how do you get them to eat again? How do you reawaken a system that has been shut down for years? You don't just flip a switch and all of a sudden you feel hunger one day. Like it's a long process. And so what the literature is telling us is you first have to see food as medication. So you're not hungry, you don't want to take it, but it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you need to have this little bit of food, eat it. You're not going to enjoy it. You're going to have all kinds of negative feelings, but you need it, take it. And as you do that over time, gradually you're reawakening a system that's been long shut down until it can start to work again. Um, and why use that illustration is because what people need to understand is when complex trauma has caused a kid to, let's say, shut down 10 important systems to survive, you don't flip a switch and turn them back on. You've got to gradually bring them to life again.
That would be really bad, I would imagine, if you were able to flip a switch and all of a sudden they could feel everything.
Oh,
Yeah,
it'd
it'd
be
be
too
intense.
much, too
Yeah.
much. Yeah. And if you take it one kind of the most extreme of the whole thing is part of what the brain will shut down, and it's not even a conscious thing, but it will start blocking memories because the memories are too painful for the child to manage.
Oh.
So I'm just going to put them out of your brain so you can't even remember this event
Oh.
because it would be too overwhelming if you did remember it. So I'm protecting you. So it's all about protecting the child so they can survive. If you brought all those memories back in one day, it'd be too much. And
Yeah.
so it's like the brain knows to just gradually bring wisps of memories back and as the child gets to safe people and has support that they can start to process and heal them, the memories come back in little pieces because that's all we can manage. And that's the same with all the systems. Your intuition, it's still there. It's been pushed so far into your subconscious that you're not aware of it, but it's taking time to just stop every day and go, what am I feeling in my body? What am I sensing? What am my emotions telling me? And just spending time listening to yourself, building that kind of relationship with yourself where, hey, this is my air traffic control center. I need to just check in a couple times a day and see what's on the radar, what's happening, because it's there. I just have been so busy I and distracted. I don't stop and make the phone call, um, and I need to start making time to do that.
Yeah, I actually added stuff to my calendar like that to remind myself,
Yeah.
to whatever. I have to put reminders on because I will just completely shut it out. And I'll be honest with you, because I feel so much, because I'm an empath and I feel other people's pain, I actually wished I could shut that down. I remember asking someone who I witnessed be able to like shut their emotions down like that and just shut it off. And I'm like, where's that switch? Please, where's that switch?
So can I speak to that? Because I think
Yes.
it's such a key thing. So I'm going to give a bit of a kind of scientific overview here, but the first response in danger is fight or flight. So the brain releases cortisol to give me that energy, adrenaline to fight or flight, and makes me faster and stronger. But a child is too little to fight or flight. So the brain goes to the next option, which is freeze. You can't escape. So fight or flight, the goal is to escape to an external world and find safety there. And then the cortisol stops and you go back to being a loving person. But if a child can't fight or flight, then they freeze. So the brain brings in a new drug and it's natural opioids. And what that enables the child to do is it medicates the pain because you're probably going to get hurt, but it also enables them to retreat into an internal world for safety where they can disconnect from the external world, dissociate, and find this safe little internal world that they can hide and be safe. And so that becomes the next strategy to survive trauma, complex trauma. But then for most children, they still need their needs met by their parents. So they have to go to the fourth F, which is fawning. And that is now I got to please you, even though I'm frozen and shut down, I got to please you so that you'll still meet my needs, so that you'll take care of me. So that's where the child becomes the empath. The child becomes, I'm going to become attuned to your emotions, not my emotions. I'm going to I'm going to know your mood before I know my mood. I'm going to know what you're thinking before I know what I think because I have to adapt quickly to your mood and emotions and thinking in order to please you if I'm going to survive. So I'm going to lose me and make you everything. And I'm going to put my needs aside and make your needs everything, put my emotions aside, make your emotions everything. And the emotions I feel aren't my genuine emotions. And initially, I feel your emotions. I mirror your emotions and I feel them intensely. And I want to fix your emotions so I can feel better. And I can only allow myself to be happy because if I'm upset or angry, etc., then that could mess up your emotions, which could then get me hurt. So I got to be happy all the time, feel your emotions, fix your emotion, be responsible for your emotions. But my radar is way out of balance. It's 100% attuned to you, and I don't have a clue what's going on inside of me.
Oh my gosh. I
So
actually did that. I actually did that.
that's your ultimate survival technique for a child to survive is to become that fawn empath survivor. But what's fascinating to me about it is you're actually in freeze mode, but you're acting like you're in connect mode. But
Oh yeah.
you're not truly connected. You're really shut down inside, but you're acting connected. And
Yeah.
so it's quite deceiving in a sense from what's actually happening in your internal world, because your internal world does not match what's happening in your external world. They're poles apart.
No, I used to walk into a room and really, I even not just as a child, but I mean, even as an adult, walk in the room and assess everything that was going on, try to understand every person. And I think what it is, I think you described it as, we're trying to create a safe space. We're trying to
Exactly.
create, kind of control it as much as we possibly can, and
Exactly.
creating what's safe for us. Because it's true. Like if I remember if I got upset as a child, I was told, you're being difficult, and, stop that. And I would see my mother upset. And the last thing I wanted was my mother upset. So I learned to just shut things down. But you know what my theme sentence was growing up is, it's not fair.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
not fair.
So you're truly a victim and you're feeling the anger around that, but you can't express it because then you wouldn't get your needs met. People would be upset with you. So you're trying to create safety by being attuned to everybody else and conforming and adapting to what they want. But what that means is you're not allowed to say no or set boundaries. So you're trying to create safety without healthy boundaries by saying yes to everybody. So what people don't realize is that works to a degree for the child. It helps them get some of their needs met and stay somewhat safe because they get really good at being a chameleon. But then once they get into adult life, now they're walking into relationships fawning, but their gut is saying this isn't a safe person, but their need is saying, but I need them to like me, so I'm going to ignore my gut, and now I'm going to walk into getting hurt all over again. And so I'm trying to create safety, but I'm walking into lack of safety. So I'm creating what I'm hating and trying to avoid.
Yeah. It's so confusing. It's so
It is.
confusing. What because we could even sit there and know that something's not right. I just don't know what.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
I don't know how to do things differently.
Exactly.
So how does someone start their alarm system again? Or start hearing it, I guess. It's been going off. They just haven't heard it.
Yeah. And like, I think to me, one of the themes that's coming out of today, Lisa, is most people, when they come into complex trauma recovery, their focus often is their relationships. My relationship with my partner, my kids, and those are all in turmoil, and I'm doing damage, and I want to fix my relationships. And what I say to people is, yes, we want to get to that, but we got to start by fixing your relationship with yourself. And you have to become attuned to yourself. You have to become a person that listens to your needs and learns to meet your needs and values that my needs matter just as much as that other person's. I don't have to keep on with this script that your needs matter more than mine and I have to put you ahead of me. No, I'm an equal and I'm going to stand up for myself and take care of myself and listen to myself and learn how to meet my needs. When people are able to start doing that, they take they begin to listen to their alarm systems and they grow. So there's one other piece though with this that I think is important. What happens when a child's in all of this unresolved pain? So they're stuffing it down, they're disconnecting, etc. But what they have to do to feel alive, because once you stuff everything down, you just feel dead inside. Everything's empty. So now you need adrenaline and chaos and drama and constant busyness and distractions and go, go, go to feel valuable and alive and to get adrenaline going because that's your only source of life is that emotional intense feeling. Um, so to go to healthy means you mean I'm going to sit in a room with a journal and be quiet for half an hour and listen to my thoughts. That sounds like torture. Like that. How can that be a good thing? I've been running from that my whole life. And so it's realizing you've developed a whole lifestyle based on survival that looked like life, but it actually brought death. Now we're trying to point you to a healthy life that feels like death, but it actually leads to life. So
That
it's
transition period is hard. That's hard.
it's a paradox in their mind. But if they can get through the first couple weeks of it, then they start to get the taste that, hey, this is actually working.
Yeah. 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 I
So
know
that's
that's,
where I give to people the emotion wheel
yeah.
and say, sit down every morning, every lunch, every evening before bed, identify 6 emotions that you're feeling, how intense they are. And just do that as a little exercise to start making you more mindful of what's going on inside of you. Do a body scan. Where am I feeling pain in my body? Um, we have the list of 12 needs. Put that on your fridge, and every day just say what needs are are not being met in my life today. What do I need to do? So just develop little practices, habits that make you more attuned to yourself.
It makes you stop and pay attention. And yeah, I like that a lot. I know. And there is that transition period. And I want everyone to know that it feels weird and awkward and uncomfortable, but just push through it. Because it's something new. Anytime we try to do something new, it's going to be different. But I love the emotional will, because I actually have it over on my desk. I'm looking over at my desk right now, but I do use it, and that's really important, because if I stop and I try to think of all the emotions right now, I'm not going to think of them all, right?
Exactly.
But if I look at a piece of paper with all the emotions, it's going to be better. So that is a great start, is to get that emotional will. You can pull it offline. I can even put it into the show notes and write down 3 times a day, start 3 times a day of writing down what emotions you're feeling that day or that moment, and write them down.
And how intense they are.
And
Scale
how
of 1 to
intense.
10.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how intense they are, and sit with it. And it might feel like torture at first, but I'm telling you, it makes such a difference. It'll become normal very soon.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Okay. Well, thank you, Tim, so much. That was really helpful.
Good. I enjoyed doing that very much.
If you resonate with this video or it's helped you out at all, let us know in the comments. Also, make sure to follow so that you can get more insightful information on trauma healing.